Gundam.tk presents Core Booster. Looking at the weapons themselves, the Beam Smart Gun is, of course, the focal point of the V-Gundam's armament, well, besides the cannons on its shoulders. And this thing folds up quite well, which is actually pretty cool. And what you're able to do with that is you bend this part down, you have a clear part in there that you can choose to paint if you want to, and once you've done that, you're able to pull this forward, and you get this part here, and then you're able to swing down these, and these can be slid up and down here to get them into just the right pose, or you can lock them in here. So very good mechanism, and of course that works on both sides. But I built the old 1/100th Victory Gundam, the V-, and this was just horrible on that. It was just a big block. So this one is pretty cool. The only thing is, it does look a little bit duck-billed and weak down there, so I wonder if that's going to bend out of position over time. But the transformation, A+. Good marks again for the Gatling gun, which looks very simple, but it's got a rod down the middle there, and then 5 around the end around the side here, which are represented, of course, by these 5 things at the end. And it also has a transformation gimmick where you're able to bend this part, swing this back. It's also made of multiple colors, which always makes things better, and you can swing this trigger forward, so then you've got a pretty cool looking Gatling gun. My favorite weapon, however, is this Beam Smart Gun, and you get 2 of these. This is the peg that's going to attach it onto the legs, and I believe that if you watch the openings, this was on the V2 Gundam. But anyway, whatever, we can use it on the Victory Gundam. But the reason I like this primarily is instead of these just being black and gray and white, this one you're going to get some color in it, which makes a big difference. Again, clear parts here for the sight, you can say, gray down there for the actual weapon, but this also has a gimmick, and that is that you slide it apart like this, and then you're able to, of course, to put the hands around there, hopefully. We'll see how that works in practice. And then everything looks like a very cool weapon despite its relative simplistic look when it's sealed up. Now the weapons get a little less exciting after this, and here we have missile pods, and it's sort of cool that again they differentiate between the dark and light grays, so that's appreciated, and the fact that you can put some little bits of lining in there, so it could be just a big plain block, but they did put a little bit of effort into that. So by itself, nothing spectacular, but as a fully loaded Victory Gundam, as a part of that, may add something. And of course I always support recycling, but here we have the disposable bazooka. And this is probably the least impressive of them all for me, primarily just because this mount mechanism comes across as being a little bit weak. I wish they had put something a little bit more solid in there. And not a lot of color variations here, pretty much just slap these together and slap them on the Gundam, shoot them, throw them away. The Beam Javelin was a pleasant surprise for me. You've got some little lining opportunities there. You've got a couple different mount mechanisms there for the manipulators. But what I liked about it is I remember the Gundam version 2.0, and it came with a clear javelin, and you have to paint everything pink, etc. But this, by having just the blue different part here, that could have been gray, which would have made this quite dull. But just by putting on that blue part, for me, that little bit of color makes this a usable and displayable weapon. Here we have the Beam Rifle, which has, I have to go put the clear part in there. Not a lot of color differentiation, but they do use a different color gray from the rest of the Gundam, so it does stand out. And of course you can move these parts around, as you would have seen already in my review of the V Gundam itself. But wow, do I really like these core fighters. This is something that I loved when I built the V Gundam in the first place, and the transformation mechanism is great. But here, just the fact that you're going to get 2 of these, plus the fact that we already have 2 from the original V Gundam, means that right now I have 4 core fighters, 2 with V Gundam heads on them and 2 with Hexa heads on them, which allows for a pretty cool display if you want to transform them all. Now I won't talk about the transformation here, but one thing you can choose to do is the version Katoki. You can take off these blue parts which are on the front here, you can see the split there, and you can put on white parts which really stand out when you put them on the Gundam itself. But to remain true to the anime, I'm going to keep these as is. As far as other moving parts, you can pop these wings out. Sometimes they fall out on their own. These parts move to some degree here. So here we also have landing gear, which is cool. It's sort of 2 parts there, and when you put that on, you can have a nice little display. Sort of makes me want to have some of those Kotobuki gray bases that they have for 1/44 figures. These would all look pretty cool lined up in a hanger like that. And once again for pilots, you're going to have 1 with Uso and 1 with Marvit inside. For the body of the core booster itself, I was actually a little bit disappointed, but of course we'll wait to see the functionality first before deciding. Basically, this is it. You've just got a big part here, a couple parts at the back. It's got a bend mechanism that we're going to use when you put this onto the back of the V Gundam. This is just going to go around those panels on the back. And this white part looks good and doesn't move, and those parts fell apart. So hopefully it's a little more sturdy when everything's put together. Out of all the parts you've seen though, these are the two most important. A, because they form the wings of the booster, but more importantly, these are the huge overhang cannons for the V Gundam itself. And these, simply put, made this whole kit worth it for me. The construction of these compared to the old 100th is just awesome. And it's the little details like the blue. A, they chose the right blue. It's the red parts here. The stickers don't look out of place. The yellow tips here, the red tips there at the end. You can put a little bit of lining in there. But basically everything looks fantastic. It's well put together, no loose parts. And the few things that are going to move well. And little details like instead of just having a big hollow hole at the end, having a gray with a little bit of an indent in there just makes this, for me, make the whole kit worth it. One other cool feature of this is that you are able to, with just a little bit of work, this is on a slide mechanism that's on at about a 45-degree angle. So think of a non-vertical elevator there. And you're able to slide that up and lock that into place, which is going to look a lot better when it's in its core booster mode. And inside you do have a little bit of gray parts in there, so it's not just a big empty cavity. So outside of the difficulty in popping that up, it's a pretty cool gimmick. Just to give you a quick glance at the old high-grade 1/100th that you can see its review of, you'll notice the red stickers here, red stickers there, these parts don't pop out, blue stickers there, and at the end it had such horrible white ends that I ended up painting those with a bad Gundam with just my Gundam marker, just to try to make it look a little bit better, but at the end of the day, the new one just looks 10 times better, no doubt, and I don't think that number's an exaggeration. A ton of parts that were all fun to build, but now it's time to turn that Master Grade Victory Gundam into the V-Dash. So stay tuned for the next part to see how that works, and of course the core booster itself. Don't forget to let me know what you think of this part and the model itself. As always, Robert184 Gundam.tk. Thanks for watching, everybody. Oh, the stickery goodness.